Mexican multi-gajillionaire, Carlos Slim, he has floated the idea of a 3-day work week. I think this is really interesting. Let's look at some info. He says, with 3 work days a week, we would have more time to relax for quality of life. Having 4 days off would be very important to generate new entertainment activities and other ways of being occupied. And now we've got some info on how he wants to do it. The trade-offs would be longer hours. Slim suggested putting in as many as 11 hours a day and working into later in life, with a call to push the retirement age back to 70 or 75. He says these changes would make the labor force more productive while also making it healthier and addressing the retirement crisis many workers face later in life. So, I mean, this actually sounds pretty good to me. 3 days a week of work, you're gonna work a little bit longer, you're gonna each day, and you're gonna work a little bit later into life. I'm kinda on board this thing. And Carlos Slim, this guy knows what he's doing. You don't become the second richest man in the world by not knowing what you're doing, right?
In theory. In theory. I definitely think there's some merit to it, but I also think that it is, one, it's going to cut hugely into Walmart's workforce, like hugely. We need to address that because I mean, Walmart, we need that to stay open. We need that
minimum wage jobs so that Walmart can get government subsidies to.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was my main worry. I'm like, he's not thinking about the Walmarts.
Right.
What about them? But I do think there is truth to that. When I am most productive is kind of when I'm not burnt out, and there's something to be said for spending 5 days, 5 days of traffic and commuting and all of that stuff could add into what is a longer day for people. If people could come in and kind of just work really hard for 11 hours. They did point out that there were problems with this in terms of, people who work in manual labor jobs. 8 hours is already a lot.
Right.
11 hours would probably kill them, so they wouldn't make it to the retirement age, but that's their problem again.
Right, so part of it does depend on what you're doing, right? Because if you're lifting heavy stuff all day, yeah, it's gonna be hard to tack on another 3 hours, but there's a lot of people that are just sitting at their computer Googling all day, right? That aren't doing that much.
The problem.
Says the YouTuber. To the other YouTuber, to the other YouTuber.
So the problem, I think, in America, and I've said this before, is that we equate in America with hard work. With the harder you work, the better of a person you are. Yeah. Which there's no correlation whatsoever, because I don't work at all. I'm a great fucking guy. Right.
But I did establish that I'm scum, so there is.
Okay. That's why I had you guys on together. I wanted to balance it out. Right.
It's true. I mean, people like to brag about how much they work. They're a hard worker. We're a work addict. This country is a bunch of adult children of alcoholics, and we don't recognize our addictions to things, and work is definitely one of them. We work way too much in America. Take a trip to Spain. My brother went to Spain. He's like, you can't believe it. They take a nap every day for 2 or 3 fucking hours. Yeah. And somehow everything gets done in Spain, right? So I like this guy's idea. I think we need to work less. This race to work even more and more and more, and now we have to compete with third world countries and stuff like that. I'm with them. I say, let's try it. Yeah, I'm done working.
You're done working. So
I do think three days is a little bit much, though. I think 4 is probably a more reasonable, given the American culture and addiction to work, and the fact that we are an extremely industrialized country, and we want to stay ahead, and we have that drive to be the best. I think it would be very hard to sell. Oh, let's go down to 3 days of productivity. Right. I think maybe you could push for 4.
Oh, he's never going to sell it. It's never going to happen. It'll never happen. But when people in America, they're not even aware of that people take siestas in other countries. They're not aware that there's laws in the European Union for how many hours someone can work. They cap the hours at 48 or 40 in some countries. Yeah. Capped. That's how much you can work. Plus, they all get a month off a year paid every year, whether you're a bartender or a waitress or a doctor or
to Europe.
Yes. So they all a lot of them get more, 6 to 8 weeks off. So in America, we're screwed. So I would say let's start with more vacation time for people. That gets on parallel with the rest of the industrialized world, and then we'll start scaling back the days. But I would say vacation time.
So I'm glad you brought up vacation, because I think we've done stuff on this before. I think we have something like the worst, literally the worst, the least amount of vacation time in the industrialized world.
Yes.
So we're already overworking ourselves. And then that was making me think, as I said, I just took vacation for 10 days, that now, because we have these freaking phones, you're working even when you're not working.
True.
So now it's like, so you really can't stop. So whether they say it's 3 days at the job or 5 days at the job. We're all walking around with this thing and can do work at all times. So that makes the disconnect even that much harder, right?
And just as a last point, I'm from a third world country, and my parents, when they started working 40 years ago or however many years ago, they were getting 4 to 6 weeks of vacation a year. And now that my father is retired, of course, he's always vacationing. But my mom has about 2 months of vacation a year.
Yeah.
And what's the country are you from? Haiti?
Jamaica.
Jamaica?
Haiti. Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, same diff. Same diff.
That's a callback to an earlier segment, folks.
Jamaica?
Yeah.
That's a third world country? I didn't know that. I've been to Jamaica.
I've been to Jamaica too. I had a
Okay.
great week. That's a whole other story.